Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, Henry Kissinger has passed on, yes, finally, at 100 years old. There's a geomagnetic solar storm scheduled to hit the Earth today. It's fairly significant, not an Earth killer, but we could experience some radio outages, things like that. NASA's even got some warnings out on it. U.S. banks are facing $685 billion in losses so far this year. And there's a new variant of COVID out spreading around that's got all the mask wearers concerned. There's all kinds of other stuff going on. Kamala Harris said yesterday that age is not just a chronological fact.
First of all, I would say that age is more than a chronological fact.
I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to mean, but I have a feeling that that's the next phase in all this deviant sexual behavior that, wow, yeah, you can say whatever age you want, and, it doesn't matter if you're 9 years old or 40 years old. It's all on what you think, right, and feel. The ceasefire in Gaza has been extended another 24 hours. And Bloomberg has said that the current global food crisis is actually worse than what was taking place during Arab Spring. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and honestly, I've just scratched the surface of a few things. Point is that I'm trying to get to is, isn't it time to get out? Don't wait too late. Isn't it time to get out and get away? Because all of this is worsening, and yes, I know it's doom and gloom, but it's true. I mean, we can sit there and try to sugarcoat it and look through some rose-colored lenses and see the world as best as we can, but the fact is there's a lot of negative things going on. And the longer that you are still plugged into the system, the matrix, or whatever you want to call it, the longer you're going to be captivated by it, and the harder it is for you to get out. And so I want to reiterate that you need to get the heck out of Dodge. And that may be figuratively and literally both. If you're still stuck in these cities, if you're still stuck around a lot of people, high population areas, in areas that you're restricted on what you can and cannot do, what you can own, what you can do with your property, all of those kind of things, then you shouldn't live there, because it's only going to get worse for people that live in those places. It's going to get worse a lot faster. If you're stuck around people that, think Joe Biden is the greatest thing since sliced bread, probably should get out of those areas. You should also get out of just the system, doing your very best to disconnect, to cut the umbilical cord. That's pretty much an impossible thing to do completely for most people, but the more and more we distance ourselves from a failing, collapsing system, the better off we're going to be when it finally does fall apart. It's like a sinking ship. You want to get off of it as soon as you can and get as far away from that ship as you can, because as it starts sinking, it's going to pull you down with it. And that's really the biggest thing that we need to be focusing on, is how can we, as just a modern people, that many of us, you may dream of a self-sufficient lifestyle, but most people just aren't self-sufficient. They may have certain aspects of their lives that are, but the reality is that most people have something that tethers them to the modern failing world. So how do you cut the ties? Well, it's really a step-by-step process. Location is probably one of the first things. There's only so many things that you can do to be self-sufficient if you live in an area that's highly regulated. If they tell you what you can and cannot do with your property, what things that you can own, if you can grow your own food, collect your own rainwater, build your own structures, or just how that you participate in the world. If you live in one of those places that's like that highly regulates your life, then it's nearly going to be impossible for you to be self-sufficient. So as much as I get so much pushback and hatred for when I say it, you need to get out. I know it's not easy. I'm not a fool. I know it's hard. I know it's sad to leave places that you've, come to love. It's sad to walk away from family members that are still all tethered to the system. It's uncomfortable and scary to walk away from a good job and a nice fancy house and to embark upon a life of rugged self-sufficiency. It's not easy. It isn't. But it's really the best option for you when it comes to, not being all caught up in the collapse as it's happening. You need to get out and learn how to do for yourself. Quit living in a nanny state that not only watches everything you do and controls everything you do, but really provides for everything that you need. Because as it provides for you, it's also controlling you. You need to learn to do for yourself. If you're sick or ill or injured, you need to learn to take care of yourself and your family as much as possible. When you're hungry or thirsty, you need to know how to produce the things to quench that thirst and take care of that hunger as much as possible. You need to know how to preserve those items so that when times get tough or when it's just the winter time and your garden isn't growing anymore, that you have things to eat because you've thought ahead and you preserved the food that you produced. You need to know how to, take care of basic things around the home, fix things, repair things, build things. You need to be able to produce your own stuff, your own electricity, your own energy, your own heat. You need to be able to take care of your own safety and security and defense as much as you possibly can. You need to be able to freely be around others of like mind that are all doing the same thing so that you can all do it together and therefore helping each other out. And if you live in these very liberal or even moderately liberal places anymore that don't allow you to do this, just leave. I see it all the time online of people that are trying to project, some type of homesteading, self-sufficiency, defense, tactical, all these different things. And they're living in places that are controlling what they do. And they're talking about how they have to work around this or work around that, or they had to go get a $20,000 permit just to build a shed, or, they can't quite own this particular firearm because their government says they can't. If that's the kind of place that you live, get out. Get out while you still can. And find places that you can live the life that you want to live, that you can live as free as possible. Is there anywhere that's completely free? No, not at all. Even where I live, there's certain things that I don't like about the government in this state, but it's far better than the vast majority of places. It also has a lot less cost of living. And so, when I balance everything out of what the government says I can and can't do and what it costs to live here, I find it's probably one of the best places to do this. There's also a lot of other people around that think and live the similar way. If you're still tethered to all this and you're still dependent upon all this and you're hoping that because you bought some buckets or, boxes of ammo or watched a few videos online that you're probably going to be okay when it all falls apart, you might be mistaken. You could be right, but that's a gamble, and I'm not willing to risk my life and my family's life on a gamble. I want to know that with very good certainty that I can take care of them and I can do the things freely that I need to do to take care of them and not have to worry about someone looking over my shoulder or telling me what I can and cannot do. This is how things used to be, folks, and we need to get back to that. We need to get away from all this. The world is worsening. It's not doom and gloom. It's reality. And for those of you that are watching this and you're going to troll the video, you can go ahead and do that. But you can try to convince everyone that everything is okay and that nothing is going on that bad. But you're fooling yourself, folks. Just look around. Look at the economy. Look at the social problems that we're having in this country and around the world. Look at the food supply. Look at, the wars that are popping up or possibly popping up all over the place. Just the hatred towards their fellow man. It's at an all-time high, where people just don't like each other and they can't get along, and then all they want to do is tear each other down. Look at the debauchery, the sinfulness, and just the pure evilness that's spreading all over the world. All these are signs that things are getting really bad. All these are signs that we're living in a society that is collapsing. And if you're smart, you'll take notice of it and you'll be proactive and get out while you still can. Get out of the system, get out of the location, and get out of the world as much as possible. Because if you don't, it's going to take you down with it. Now, I know most of you know these things. I know most of you are working actively to do these things. And for those of you that fall into that category, please keep doing them. Keep pushing things further. Think of all the ways in your life that you're currently dependent upon a system, any system, and what you can do to end that dependency. If there's something that would happen and you would rely on something outside of your control to take care of you, then you need to come up with your own way to take care of yourself. This is really simple thinking. It's not difficult. It's just a little difficult to actually implement it. And that just takes time and effort and, yes, usually some money. But it's well worth it when you look back and you realize that you're kind of on your own in a good way, and that you're not dependent upon anyone, and that you have your life and your family's life in your own hands, which I believe is the way it should be. So get up today and do something about it. Get out while you still can. Make plans, do your preps, develop your skills, and build relationships with others that are of like mind. Folks, right now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, right now is the time to get your houses in order and prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.